All right, so day 60, I believe, on the CDT. Spoiler alert, stable weather did not happen today, per my yesterday video. But a few housekeeping items. In yesterday's video, I mentioned that my lungs weren't happy because I basically ran up Lake Ann Pass. But in yesterday's video, I said that I think it was 2.1 miles, 1,500 feet of elevation gain, and I did it in an hour 55 minutes. I'm sure some of you saw that video and were like, 1 mile per hour. That seems like you could stop and check out the flowers and smell them, take some photos, and make sure that your breathing was okay. And you're correct. I haven't rewatched the video, but I think I said hour 55. The reason why my lungs were unhappy is because I did that ascent in 55 minutes, not an hour and 55. So that's why my lungs were a bit unhappy. I think they'd be unhappy today, and we'll get to that in a little bit, except yesterday we had... Oh, video's shaky. Yesterday we had I had three major ascents and 2 moderate ascents. Today there was just 1 major ascent, and that was it. The second thing, I thought about it a little bit more, and when you get closer to town, you start thinking about the town food and showers and beds and laundry and all that stuff. And I think part of my unhappiness with the tourists at Cottonwood Pass is they got to drive off in their cars and go eat whatever they wanted to in town, and sleep in beds and do laundry and not smell. So part of my irritation yesterday may have been the fact that I didn't get to go do those things. So I may have been just a little bit jealous. The third housekeeping item was the stable weather. As soon as we finished the video yesterday, or I finished that video yesterday for you folks, I went out of my tent to just finish up a few things, and I noticed that there were some clouds that were swirling, and sure enough, an hour and a half later, I think, or 2 hours later, it started raining, and it rained for a little bit and then it stopped. However, it got cold because I was at or above 12,000 feet. And so there was condensation inside the tent. There was rain on the outside of the tent when I woke up this morning. So the rain fly was saturated, which I got to put in my pack. And then my wish of stable weather did not come to pass today. This is Sunday, the 26th, and I had a descent, and then there was a major ascent, and then there was a long descent. Like it was a sharp descent and then a long descent into town. And it's not really town, it's more of like a general store. And I didn't get there. I started the day out strong, and it was nice weather, blue skies and sun. And then right as I started the ascent up Hope Pass, and for those who are unfamiliar with Hope Pass, it is it's about 2,500 feet and 2.3 miles. And when you're talking about the grade of a trail on an ascent, I think the standard is if you're ascending more than 1,000 feet in 1 mile, then that's considered a pretty significant grade. And so for Hope Pass, it was about 2,500 feet in 2.3 miles in the direction I'm hiking. So it's a pretty steep ascent. And I started ascending it, and I got about 2/3 of the way up, and a thunderstorm came through. And so I put on my rain jacket and put on the rain cover of my pack, and I sat there for about 15 or 20 minutes expecting that the thunderstorm would keep on going over my head. and it didn't. It just camped there, and it was thundering above my head in the same spot for that period of time. And so I had a decision to make. I had to either call it in and put up my tent at that point, or I needed to kind of ascend up to tree line and wait for a break in the weather, or as close to a break as possible, and then go for it. So I did the latter, and as soon as I thought there was a break in the weather, I went for it, and then, I don't know, 5 minutes later, the skies opened up and then there was a huge downpour. And thankfully the thunder was not thundering, so I think that part of the storm had moved on. But for the rest of the ascent, I just got buckets of water basically poured on me, and I got saturated. So I got up and over the ascent, and on the descent, it continued to rain. And I think it was around somewhere between 1 to 2 o'clock this afternoon, like during the descent. And this is the longer descent towards town. I realized I wasn't gonna, even though I had made some good miles, I wasn't gonna be able to get to the store in time to get my box and properly sorted and stuff before it closed. So what I ended up doing was I found a campsite that was mostly dry. It's underneath a tree, and I set up my tent around, I think it was 4:30, something like that. So it's an early day. I'm about 6 miles away from the store, and tomorrow I'll just hike in the morning. They open up at 9. I'll get there right as they open. I'll sort my stuff and I'll keep on hiking. But the fact that I was saying that in yesterday's video, 5 of the 7 days I either got rained on, or I was chased by rain, or I was trying to like hike quickly to beat rain or get to blue skies or whatever, and I needed a day of stable weather. The fact that it rained last night and rained today told me that stable weather is not in the forecast in the immediate future. So that's 6 out of 8 days now that I've been rained on. I was asked by somebody who ran by me today. They were practicing for the Leadville 100, and the person said, sorry, I'm not in a very a comfortable place, and that's one reason why the phone's shaking. The person said, "How are you?" And I responded with, "It's the day in the life of a thru hiker. It is what it is." And he responded back, or retorted back, "I know what you're doing. I was asking how you were doing." And then he was gone because he was running. And I answered his question, but I don't think he quite understood the answer. As a thru hiker, we have to get our miles. I think in the day in the life video, a few days or a week or so ago, I mentioned like mileage is king. You know, it's our job. We have to get the miles in if we're going to be able to get to Canada before the snow falls. And so it rained today, and I don't want to be high in a thunderstorm, so I paused to let the thunderstorm kind of pass by, even though it camped for a bit. But then I continued hiking because that's what we got to do. So it doesn't matter if I'm wet or cold or hungry, or I don't get to, go down to a trailhead and change into dry clothes and get into a car with a heater and drive home and take a hot shower and order food from my favorite restaurant. I don't get to do any of that stuff. I got finished with the descent, and then I continued hiking miles, soaking wet, because that's what we're doing out here. We're hiking our miles. So I think I said in the Creed video, so last Sunday when I hiked out at Creed and it was raining, sometimes we just get bad weather and we gotta keep going. So that's what today was. Did not get stable weather. You can again see the rain jacket. I've been in the tent a while now, so finally it's dry, and most of my clothes are dry since I've been sitting in the tent for about 3 hours. I filtered the water and did my mileage, and I got everything kind of set up. I need to eat some dinner and stretch, but I'm waiting for another rainstorm that just went through to finish up before I can cook dinner and stretch. The last thing I think about today is my mileage. I calculated it and I passed 1,000 miles today. So that's a milestone. 4 figures is no small feat, and it's amazing that I started at the border with Mexico in New Mexico, and I've hiked back to Colorado. I think I'm, as a crow flies, less than 10 miles away from Leadville, Colorado. So, these are stomping grounds where I hike the 14ers and the 13ers, and I've been in this area a lot. In the last 18 years, I've lived in Colorado. So the fact that I've walked here from Mexico in the last 1,000 miles is, I don't know, I think I'm a loss for words for what it is, because I think about everything that's gone on in 1,000 miles, and I'm curious what's going to happen in the next 2,000-ish miles. But I think the fact that I'm hiking from Mexico to Canada for the second time is I think it just gives me pause and fills me with gratitude that I get to do stuff like this. And I know some people say, well, you get to do it because you actually take the time to do it, but there are a lot of people that, through ailments, or whether they're physical or mental or emotional or psychological, or people who have some type of disability, and they get to do amazing things, but maybe not walk across the country and get to see, like, close up and personal, the different aspects of the country. I think I'm just filled with gratitude for the fact that I had an opportunity to hike 1,000 miles from Mexico to Colorado, and as long as injury stays away, I get to keep on going and exit Colorado into Wyoming on my way to Canada. So 1,000 miles, it's a major milestone, and a lot's happened in the last 60 days. Fun stuff, irritating stuff, frustrating things, wonderful things. It's hard to put into words. So, anywhoozy, today I'm going to give a shout out to my friends Emily and Zach. I got 2 bars today, so I got to talk to them on the phone for a little bit, and they're going to happen to be in Silverthorne around the same time that I'm going to get in. So I get to meet up with them and share a meal and share stories of how their life's going, and I'm sure we'll talk about the trail stuff, but it'll be fun to see some friends. So shout out to them for making time in their schedules to visit with me in a couple days when I get to Silverthorne. I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone takes a few seconds to reflect on your day or your dreams or desires, hopes, wishes, whatever they are. And if you're not moving towards those dreams, desires, whatever, then maybe, ask some questions to see how you can start moving in those directions. Because that's how I was able to hike the CDT is just by asking, how can I make this happen? So hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you folks tomorrow.